Hello and welcome to Lunch with Lynn at Lolly's Quilt Shop in Clifton Forge, Virginia. Today I have downloaded a free Christmas tree light in the hoop, little Christmas tree. It looks like this when you're finished, and you put a tea light in the center. This is using felt, and it has the embroidery for the front. Now I did download this from We All Sew, and it's Christmas tea light cover in the hoop. So I do deviate from the instructions a little bit because the instructions tell you to hoop the entire piece of felt. So you would be hooping, you would need 2 large pieces of felt to go into your hoop. Rather than doing that, I'm going to use this as like an applique. So I have hooped my cutaway stabilizer, and then I have cut out the little tree is not quite 4 by 4, and so I have cut out 2 5 by 5 pieces of felt that I'm going to need for my project. Now I do want to kind of match my beginning stitches with the same color, so I've got bobbin thread that is dark green, and I have thread in my machine that is dark green. So in order to do this like an applique, I'm going to run step 1 twice. So I'm going to run it once on my stabilizer so I know where to place my felt. So now that I have run the first step, and you'll notice that my bobbin thread is the same color, and the reason we do that is we don't want the bobbin thread to show through on my felt. So I've run step 1 once. I'm going to tell the machine to go back to step 1 again, and I'm going to place my felt, making sure that it has covered the entire placement line. And I'm going to sew step 1 again, which will tack my felt down to my stabilizer. Now at this point you want to make sure you change your bobbin thread back to white because it's going to do the embroidery on the front. And I'm going to do my swirls that you can see highlighted on the screen here in blue. I'm going to do my swirls in white. Okay, I've changed my bobbin thread to white and my top thread to white, and I'm going to now embroider the swirls on the tree, which is the next step. And we just let the machine run until this step is finished. Now that it has finished doing the white swirls, I am going to do the tree trunk of the little tree, and we're going to change our thread to brown. Now that I've got it rethreaded, we're going to start the step to do the trunk. We want to change our thread again to red. Of course, you can change this to whatever color you want. You could also use metallic thread if you wanted to make the little balls on the Christmas tree a metallic color. You could use metallic gold or silver. I'm going to use a red today. Thread a little bit long. I'm going to trim that back. So now I'm going to have the machine run the step to put the little berries on the tree. Okay, now that we have run all of the steps to embroider the front of our tree, I'm going to take my hoop out of the machine. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to tape onto the back my other piece of felt. Now for this last step, you also want to make sure that your bobbin thread again is the same color as your top thread. I'm going to use the dark green again. And the reason is because once it does this final step, you will be able to see the sewing that is on the back of the tree. So I'm going to change my upper and my lower thread to green. And then I'm going to use a paper tape, and any paper tape would be fine. You could even use painter's tape, or I have masking tape right here. You want to tape this down so that when the machine is running its next step, that make sure your piece covers the design completely, and then you want to tape it down securely so that as the machine is running, it stays securely in place. So now that I've got it securely taped on the back, I'm going to place it back in the machine. I have my green upper thread and green also in the bobbin thread, and I'm going to run the last step. And this is going to secure the front piece to the back piece, and also do the decorative stitching before we cut it out. word of caution on this particular, it's a very cute design, but at the very end, when it gets to the last step down here, as you can see, my needle has been broken because instead of cutting it, it moves the module and it tries to cut about here and it hits onto the machine. And I bent a needle on my first one and it broke the needle on this one, so you might want to watch out for that. What I would do is when it gets down here to the last step, just stop your machine and then tell it to cut it manually. But as you can see, we've got our finished design here. The front and the back is sewn on. Of course, I will clip any wayward threads that we may have. So as you can see, there are a couple of little jump stitches. All you have to do is just take your scissors and give them a quick snip so that you've got a nice clean design. Now I'm going to take the design out of my hoop. Set my hoop aside. Trim the back up just a little bit. See, you've got some threads here, excess threads that need to be cut. Because this is a 3D design, you will be able to see the front and the back. So to finish this, I'm going to take my scissors, and you want to be very careful not to cut your stitches. You just want to cut close along the stitches. You can see I've got about 1/8 of an inch. No need to measure it, just try to go as straight as you can. And I'm going to cut all the way around my tree. Now that I've got my tree cut out, as you can see, about 1/8 of an inch off of the edge of the stitches. The design has a little hole. You can put a battery-powered tea light in, and that will hold it up, and it will flicker on the inside. Now this design did come from it is a free design that you can download, and the embroidery designs are downloadable. As you can see, it gives you a step-by-step. Now remember, I did not hoop the entire piece of felt. I only hooped my stabilizer. I cut out a 5x5 piece of felt to go on the top and the bottom. Now to achieve this, you do run the step number 1 twice. Thank you for joining us today with Lunch with Lynn at Lolly's Quilt Shop in Clifton Forge, and we are doing cute little tea light trees.